Hi, I'm Mitchell Ringos. Welcome to Word for Word, where we offer you an in-depth look at some of our interviews with newsmakers from across the Northwest. On Monday night, City Council is being asked to commit $3 million for the Renew Thunder Bay Reserve Fund for the Waterfront Trail Development Project. The motion is being brought forward by Councillor Trevor Gertuga, who explains the importance of moving the project forward.
All right, we're rolling. Trevor, start off maybe. Obviously, Waterfront Trail, a pretty significant discussion regarding that on Monday coming to council. Tell me what you're bringing forward and what you're hoping out of it.
Okay, well, I'm bringing forward $3 million from our Renew Thunder Bay Reserve Fund, and that Reserve Fund was, the spirit behind it was for projects like this that involve economic development, tourism, things that are good projects for the community. It's a $9 million project, but I'm bringing back forward a commitment of $3 million from the city, contingent upon getting other levels of government funding or private sector funding of the 2/3. So, and I'm only asking it to be committed for this term of council. I'm not trying to commit anyone else past that. So that's what I'm looking to bring forward.
Talk about the importance of this bridge. I feel like some people are going to see the $9 million figure and say, you know, the city's cutting some services, they're facing financial challenges. So why is it a worthwhile investment to spend that much money on this project?
Well, I'm not one to quickly spend money. I'm always trying to be the purse taker of the public tax purse, I guess. But anyways, it's on our infrastructure list. It's on a long-range plan for administration, so it's something that we plan to do anyways. And the Richardson Bridge is a part that, from administration and WTR CAT committee, is a part that's going to connect everything and get us functioning there. I mean, they did the economic study and feasibility tourism study, and that shows that it would bring people to the community, help retain people in the community, and invite people to the community. So it's just another tourism piece that if we're going to do it anyways, and we have this money in reserve, and we can get matching funding, why not do it now? Why not try to hurry it up?
And something Ian was mentioning before, it'd be good for us to have it on tape. How much is in that fund currently, the Renew Thunder Bay? Can you just speak to that very briefly?
Yeah, I believe there's $17 or $18 million in that fund, and that fund was created for matching funds. It's not created to do one-time capital funding from 100% for the city. It's meant for matching funding, so 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3.
What have you heard from constituents about this idea? The feasibility study that was released this year showed there is fairly strong public support for this, but is it an issue you hear enthusiasm about?
Oh, for sure. You know, I've heard it over the years. I mean, we have 52 kilometers of water line, right? Why aren't we, developing it? You know, I mean, look at other cities that they've developed their waterfront, and you can go for miles along the waterfront and rollerblade, walk. It's something that everyone can use at no cost.
Just thinking about what's between Prince Arthur's Landing, which obviously I think has been kind of a gem for the city, and some of the stuff in Current River that I think people would want to access, like Boulevard Lake. A lot of the trail in between there is just kind of along a road for now. Do you feel like there need to be further improvements beyond this bridge to kind of make that trail appealing to people? I'm thinking, I guess, between the bridge and Prince Arthur's Landing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we have a lot more to do, but this is the one piece that both administration and the WTR CAT committee agree on, that this is like the biggest piece of the puzzle at this point. Once we start there, then we'll move forward, and everything should come together after that. So.
And you were mentioning it before we rolled. It sounds like you have had maybe a brief conversation or maybe a text message with someone from WTR CAT. How are they feeling about this coming forward on Monday?
Well, they seem very positive. They're going to have some people in the audience there, and this is something they've been working on, right? And when you have a committee like that who's going to prepare to do the work for us and look for funding and look for private sector funding and do some fundraising, I mean, you have to take advantage of that, and especially in these times.
Lakehead University honored survivors of residential schools with a special flag-raising ceremony. LU representatives along with Indigenous leaders gathered to raise the National Truth and Reconciliation flag on the steps outside of the Agora. The survivors' flag is meant to honor all the lives and communities impacted by the residential school system in Canada.
It's so meaningful for us to have an event like this right on our campus here at Lakehead in Thunder Bay, to have the leadership from Indigenous communities come and speak to our faculty, staff, and students about the significance of truth and reconciliation to them and to all of us.
Why is that important? Why is it important to let the students here who are here to learn about a lot of different things, and also the faculty, why is it important to spread that message to them?
I think that universities have a critical role to play in truth and reconciliation, and I think that it is incumbent upon universities to make sure that our students have that opportunity to learn that history, to learn that truth, and then be part of the journey of reconciliation.
Thunder Bay in particular, given its central location in the Northwest, I mean, it has that much more meaning.
Absolutely. This is an incredibly important location. There are many First Nations in this area, in this large geographic area, and we want to be inclusive of all of them at the university and come together as often as we can.
All right, and just any final thoughts, anything that you would like to say about the rest of the events coming up and about this day as well, just anything that you'd like to add?
I think this day, you could feel how impactful this day was for everyone who was here. The words of the Indigenous leaders who were here were powerful and inspiring, and as much as they are about reminding us of a very painful past, they are also looking ahead to working together for a much better future.
Well, we're very grateful that Lakehead University is doing this. It is a very large campus. Many people come from all around the world to this institution, and so it's very important that they have this initiative, and because it impacts many people, especially in terms of their reason for coming here, which is to learn, and part of that is learning the truth about the Indian Residential School and what it represents.
I mean, why is it important, I guess, to, I think we know, but why is it, in your words, important for the next generation and the next generation to learn and know and have that understanding?
Well, I believe that in the past, as First Nation people, if we were sitting on, people have to know, why do we represent, the majority of individuals in the correctional facility, and why do we represent the high rates of children in the child welfare system? So there has to be an understanding as to why that is. Because when individuals have gone through significant trauma, are lost, because we have to remember there was many people that died in these institutions as well. And so that particular trauma is still impacting our people. And so despite that, we have many people who have risen and have been, have great achievements. We heard from one survivor who said that she graduated from this particular institution, and she still speaks her language. So to me, that's a testament of individuals that are resilient, that are strong, and so that's what we must remember.
Are you seeing results with efforts like this and ongoing, greater recognition of truth and reconciliation and so on and so forth? Are we seeing results from that?
I believe that the more people that are involved, the more people that support the survivors, that it makes an impact, especially on those particular people at the federal and provincial government who have that authority to ensure that reconciliation and those particular changes happen. Like, there is still a lot of very policies and legislations that are very discriminatory to the First Nation citizens, including the Indian Act. It still exists, and it still is the foundation of many legislations and policies that impact First Nation people.
And the impact of the residential school system is still being felt today. I mean, the schools may be closed, but there's still intergenerational trauma that is happening.
There is, I mentioned a few of the circumstances earlier, and also, because there are graves that are being recovered in these institutions, and it creates that trauma, but at the same time, it also is the evidence of what these institutions represent. Is that it represents that assimilation and also genocide, and there's graves that are being recovered all across this country, including in our territory. And this is why this year we're not going to be having our event on the grounds of that former residential school site, because the survivors are saying, there possibly can be graves on those grounds. So this is why we're moving it to Vickers Park.
Local MP Patty Hajdu was the guest speaker at the Thunder Bay Chamber of Commerce Leaders Luncheon. The Federal Minister of Indigenous Services and Minister responsible for FedNor was there to address the local business community.
FedNor and how its effects to the community of Thunder Bay.
Yeah, so today I was at the Chamber of Commerce talking about economic reconciliation and the importance of moving forward in a fully inclusive way so that the entire region prospers. FedNor is a part of that. FedNor itself has been evolving. It has a new president and certainly focused on making sure that we're supporting good projects across the region, including Indigenous-led projects, and that helps our economies diversify and stay strong in the case of any kinds of sector shock or economic shock, and it's very important work.
And what's the total budget for FedNor?
I don't have that offhand right now. We'll get you the details. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Patty, can I ask you about the importance of Indigenous businesses merging with like the mining sector and the forestry sector, the growing mining sector here? How important is it for them to be connecting with these new businesses coming into Thunder Bay, specifically Thunder Bay, from all over the world?
Well, I think developers of natural resource projects and large corporations, indeed some medium and small size corporations, are looking at partnership with Indigenous entrepreneurs and business as a way forward. And in fact, that's the fair and smart way forward. Indigenous people have been the stewards of the land for a very long time, and they've also been excluded from economic prosperity, intentionally using colonial tools that was intended to clear the land of Indigenous people so that non-Indigenous people could benefit from those resources. And our federal government has been taking huge steps forward to make sure that when natural resource projects are evolving and as we have opportunity to develop our natural resources, that the benefits of those projects are shared across the board with Indigenous peoples. And so it's really nice to see, for example, the Chamber have Jason Thompson as their president. He is an Indigenous entrepreneur and has been for many years. And it's that kind of reflection, I think, that creates stronger economies for everyone. It's also a way to bring in new talent, new ideas, new ways of doing things that I think will benefit us all.
Do you see a growth in the Indigenous communities picking up, starting to connect with some of these businesses, the education to try and get on board to get these jobs and go to work and make this work?
Well, for generations, Indigenous people have been entrepreneurs. In fact, we have many businesses in communities that don't necessarily consider themselves a business, but they are indeed running full businesses. I think what's different is that the suite of policy tools that are available under the federal Liberals have been there, put into place to ensure that there's a firm firm commitment to that economic reconciliation, whether it's investing in skills training, whether it's changing the way that we do impact assessment agreements to include Indigenous voices and Indigenous benefit, and whether it's investing in the kinds of tools that will help Indigenous communities reimagine how they want to generate their own income. These are all really important aspects of reconciliation, and I think, as I said in my speech, and in fact economists say, that when you have a diverse and truly fully integrated economy, that's when communities really thrive.
The program that you alluded to in your speech with you and MP Pawlowski, can you just shed some more light on that? The employee program, getting more employees.
Oh,
into
the
businesses?
regional northern
That one,
immigration
yes.
pilot. Yeah, so Thunder Bay's been really fortunate for the last several years to be part of something called the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot, RNIP for short. This program allows Thunder Bay to receive specifically newcomers to the region that have a specific set of skills. The community has an opportunity to weigh in on how the program is shaped, and it's been hugely beneficial to employers over the number of years that it's been in place. It allows newcomers to come to Thunder Bay with the potential of not only getting a job but growing their skills and becoming an integral member of the community. Employers love it, newcomers love it, and certainly we've heard a lot of advocacy to make the program permanent and expand the numbers, and that's certainly the work that MP Pawlowski and I are doing, is to advocate for the permanence of that project.
First of all, we're thrilled to have the minister come to speak to our members. She's so generous to come and meet with our members on a regular basis. So it's always a great way for us to understand what's top of mind with her priorities, both as a minister and also as an MP. So I did ask a question about housing. We know that housing is a big topic right now, both at the provincial and the federal levels. And the federal government has been trying to find some ways to support, and so trying to just wanting to get her insights into what are they talking about, what is this something that is of kind of on the top burner for them, and it clearly is, not only in her role as Indigenous Services, but as a member of cabinet. This is something that's a huge piece of the puzzle, and it's a huge problem. It's a huge challenge for us here, because we know that we are cusp for amazing growth, with all of the mining development. So how do we make sure that we don't lose out on attracting labor, attracting new business, attracting even students to our college and universities because they have nowhere to live? And so, it really is a large piece of the economic puzzle. We need new people to come to our community, and we need to make sure that we have a place for them to live. And so, all levels of government need to be involved in the conversation. And so, really great to have the opportunity to hear the federal perspective and to, make the minister aware that this is an economic issue for us in Thunder Bay. And so, to sort of keep pushing her to keep doing what she is at the federal level on that issue.
You mentioned, or she mentioned in her remarks about a program that her and MP Pawlowski were working on to retain workers, to attract workers. Do you know offhand if any of the Thunder Bay businesses have been involved in that pilot program?
Are we talking about the Rural Northern Immigration Pilot? Yes, absolutely. The Thunder Bay CEDC is the lead organization on the Rural Northern Immigration Pilot, which is also called RNIP. The pilot is up to expire early next year, and so we've been pushing to make it a permanent program. Certainly, there's been a couple of hundred. I think we're pushing 300 people that have been put through that program, and it's been a huge benefit to local employers to bring folks from away, to get them settled in a job here in a community and help them towards a path towards permanent residency. So it's been a huge benefit to our community and to our region, and we're certainly hopeful that that program will continue, because Thunder Bay again needs those folks to be coming here and settling here to address our labor issues and to allow us to grow.
Thanks for joining us for today's edition of Word for Word. We'll be back next week with more interviews from across the Northwest.